The biggest statement in the year in Nigeria is President Buhari, or rather, what President Buhari says Nigerians can't see in the service chiefs. And that's the big statement from President Buhari's spokesperson, Garba Shehu, in his reaction on why the president has continued to keep the service chiefs even after more than 5 years. But the big news from Nigeria now is that the president has accepted the resignation of the service chiefs, bringing on the saddle 4 new sheriffs in town. That's our highlight today on VSA. Welcome. Well, Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari said he received the resignation and letters of all 4 former service chiefs: the Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishaki; Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai; Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ekweibas; and Chief of Air Staff, Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. All 4 former service chiefs are to go on immediate retirement. The new service chiefs are Major General Leo Irabor, Chief of Defense Staff; Major General Atairu, Chief of Army Staff; Rear Admiral A.Z. Gambo, Chief of Naval Staff; and Air Vice Marshal I.O. Amao as Chief of Air Staff. Nigeria has been plagued with critical security issues for more than a decade. Service chiefs have come and gone in the past, but the problems have stalled. With the new appointments, bringing the new ideas and desire to Nigeria's security challenges now, and that's what a lot of Nigerians have been clamoring for. Joining me on the show today, Captain Umar Aliyu, retired, and of course another security expert, Temitope Olodo, who is a preventive terrorism expert from the UK. Temitope, good to have you join us. It's a moment in history in Nigeria, because many, as well as yourself, they've been asking for a rejig of the security apparatus, as well as a change in guard of the service chiefs. So President Buhari has finally answered the call of Nigerians. How does that, change the battle against security moving forward?
There's no doubt that we have to congratulate the president, again, the commander-in-chief, for his wisdom in terms of moving forward. The news have been received with mixed feelings. There are, of course, chatters about the capacity of the individuals. Some of them are well known, some of them are unknown. I know General Lucky, who I've met in the UK, very, great gentleman, willing to listen, was in the midst of experts, listening to issues to do with counter-terrorism. So I could say at least 1 or 2 things from conversation with him when he was in the UK, that he's a man that has the skills and knowledge and he's worked in the multinational task force. And I believe that the other general who will be taking over from Buratai also has a lot of experience also in the bag. And our hope is that with this new appointment, the president will be putting in the KPIs, the key performance indicators, and not just leave them to do whatever they want to do, but remove them if there is need to remove them within a month or 2 of them getting to post. That is what we want from the commander-in-chief. Anybody can come in post, rejig the system and make it work. We believe Nigeria has the capacity to make it work. I think what is needed now is the political will to support them, and they themselves bringing in new, fresh ideas to take the war to Boko Haram and Eswam.
Some have said that this is better late than never.
Definitely. The fact is that it's been done at the right time. We noticed that a lot of states are now bringing up their own security outfits. A lot of regions are looking at how to address security. Of course, we must not blame the military for that, because military is not meant to be involved in internal security. But the challenge we have is that our internal security always have an external connotation with it. Because when we talk about internal security in terms of elders conflict, we know that we're talking of foreign elders rather than settled elders who have been involved in the community or lived in certain communities for even up to 150 years, and they should not be held responsible for the acts of criminals. But again, when you talk about Boko Haram, we know that Boko Haram is not just individuals from Borno alone, but includes people coming from Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and other countries. So because of that, military involvement is necessary. But what we are hoping is that military will work more with the other security agencies, there are more than 10 of them, and ensure that they bring in other key stakeholders, within Nigeria and outside Nigeria, who have an understanding of what is happening, and to help them, because if Nigeria is good, it's good for all of us.
Hope, that word used by you is one that Nigerians, that has actually kept Nigerians going. Can we expect to see, fresh ideas, considering that the newly appointed men have been a part of the fight at one point or the other, specifically looking at the General Irabo?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we need to understand is that the way the military structure works is that you don't overshoot the way whatever command is given to you. You don't do certain things that you might want to do. We know of a general that did that to him losing his job, who was just saying, "Look at us, we are surrounded and we are taking fire from every angle, but we are standing still." Yet he was removed. Such a general should never have been removed. So if a particular major general or a particular military leader decide not to do certain things or could actually deliver, sometimes it's because his hand is tight. And I want to give each and every one of them that is coming on board a benefit of the doubt. General Lucky was in the multinational task force, so he has that connection with his other counterparts in all the other African countries surrounding us affected by Boko Haram. So I believe he's coming in with other fresh ideas, just like Kurata did when he came in, and he did a great job initially before he was overstayed his position. I believe General Lucky could come in and change the game, and I believe more importantly that the use of technology, the use of other key stakeholders outside the military establishment and the security establishment will be a great way. We have a lot of generals, a lot of retired individuals, many of them that you have interviewed yourself, who have great ideas. And I'm hoping that we'll leave this door open, as we use it, as we say in the UK. His door will be open to fresh ideas, not throwing anything out, but critically looking at things that are relevant and adding them, to make himself, because he's the one that will take the glory at the end of the day if he's able to deliver the task given to him by the
as highlighted by you, synergy, collaboration is are two key things that was needed in prosecuting this battle. At the onset, those were evident, but it seemed they lost out on that. Do you think that there was some kind of on-the-ground, skirmish amongst the leadership of those prosecuting the battle for Nigeria?
There's no doubt. When you look at the way in which they carry out their operations, there's no doubt there seems to be some bit of politics in there. But one of the things I'm hoping will happen is that this new chief of defense staff, the new chief of army staff, will do something that their other counterpart never did, or their predecessors never did. That is to come out with report of their activities, do their own benchmarking. There's nothing as good as saying, "Oh, we intend to remove Boko Haram by June." Even if you don't remove Boko Haram by June, but you've done a great job up to May, a lot of people will clap and applaud you for what you are doing, because we know the work is difficult, but you're not telling us what you're doing. You're just coming for photo shoots, publicity stunt, or we have motorbikes that will go into Boko Haram enclave. We never hear anything about it. We have drones that will deliver work, but we never hear about the drones anymore. We have this. The chief of army, the chief of air staff was completely different. At least they were bringing in new platforms and we could see the work they were doing on the ground. But with the army, it was completely different. We hear of them saying, oh, we've neutralized five Boko Haram members, but we picked up 2 rifles. were 5 people using 2 rifles? Those are the kind of misunderstanding, and the narrative needs to change, and they need to do more with the de-radicalization, because if they are able to stop the cap of where Boko Haram is able to do their recruitment from, I am confident that we'll be able to deal with this job more better.
You know, critically talking about how this has been for Nigeria, you know, this move perhaps, do you see it as a motivation for the troops?
There's no doubt. I know that, throughout the length and breadth of our military barracks and formation, a lot of them will be will be happy. There are 2 reasons why they need to be happy. First reason is, the movement of the new chief of army staff now means that, certain people will have to go, certain people will get promotion. So, and the promotion will go upwards. That means that there will be motivation to go out there to do the work. The other thing is that the new chief of army staff has a clean slate. So there's no reason why he can't take new ideas now. There's no reason for him not to consult with other people. So from that perspective, he's coming in with a new slate, and he should be able to deliver what he needs to deliver. I'm confident he'll be able to do that.
Allow me bring in retired Captain Umar Aliyu. Good to have you join us on VSA. Captain Aliyu, you're one Nigerian who's come up with, an idea. You did say, I recall then, that for every general, they have their approach, and once they're done with that, you bring in some other new expert. Is that what just happened in Nigeria?
Good evening, Slay. I hope you can hear me.
Perfectly well.
I want to believe yes. I want to believe yes because I really do not have a 100% confidence check. I can give you a clean bill of health where decision making on the part of our commander-in-chief is. And the reason why I say so is this. I find the sudden change of service chiefs suspect. At best, I can say changing the service chiefs now, even though it's long overdue, is too little, too late. We've suffered a lot of losses. We've suffered a lot of setback. Much expenditures have been converted to sunk costs. And when everybody is virtually tired of saying the same thing, this man just wakes up and says, okay, I'm changing service chiefs. Now, if my strategic security and intelligence mind is working, in changing the service chiefs is a massive distraction tactic. And the distraction is, wow, Nigerians have me cornered on the issue of herdsmen. Why don't I placate and distract them by changing the service chiefs now? Now, the new set of service chiefs, as we know them, are some very sterling officers. General Leo Irabo is someone we know. We know his antecedents, we know his strengths, we know what he was able to achieve while he served in the Northeast. The other service chiefs are also good officers that have been able to keep what I call a very professional, as in very professional military trajectory. I hope this administration lets them work. By letting them work, I mean I hope they get out of their way. I'm saying so for one reason. General Leo Ibarabo is a soldier to the core, but his defense minister is not. The defense minister is a soldier politician, if I can wait. General Magashi is not adept in the democracy of defense. If we want the thing to flow the way it should, we should have a general who can work with troop commanders who cut their teeth in the democracy of defense in the last 20 democratic years, not from our jackpot military dictatorship years. You have a defense minister and you put some sterling democracy-driven officers under him as service chiefs. It's like actually, we call it a Greek gift, if you like. So I'm seeing some very wonderful officers. I'm seeing some officers who are going to be going there to change game. But then whether they will truly be allowed to work, whether politics and some other shenanigans will not stand in their way, is left to be seen. I'm saying this early in the day so that we understand exactly what may be playing out. We know what exactly our priorities are today. It's not about service chiefs anymore. He has had his way. We have had our say on service chiefs. Right now, what is most burning is what? This vagrants and the issue across Nigeria of headsmen who happen to be his own kingsmen. And he's shying away from that and doing some very, very he's maneuvering with difficulty and changing service chiefs. We welcome the change of service chiefs. We say kudos to the change of service chiefs, but we still remain glued to that one problem that is also going to be a very big challenge to the service chiefs if he doesn't take a position on it.
Before I come back to you, Temitope, allow me to stay with Aliyu on this again. Looking at the president's Twitter handle, he said they tendered their resignation. Tell us how it works, because they've been long due for retirement, and now this is coming from, on their own volition to say, Mr. President, I think we're okay, time for us to leave.
I believe that question is for me, Sulay?
Absolutely.
Did I hear you say tender their resignations?
So because Nigerians are divided, whether this is a sack, a removal, replacement, or, resignation.
Let me assure you, from my own position, Sulay, I do not take positions from what pronouncements the presidency releases anymore. And the reason I tell you why is because we could have Mr. X saying this, and by tomorrow morning you hear Mr. Y say this, and next tomorrow you hear Mr. A say that. So what I do is I profile the institution of the presidency. You must understand that as human beings, we're social in nature and we're creatures of habit. So I profile the presidency, and normally the kind of presidency we have is not the kind of presidency that accepts resignation letters. You don't resign on them. They either fire you or they fire you. So you can't come and tell me suddenly that an old horse has learned new tricks and now people tender resignation. I don't think so. That's just a formal, way of putting it. But then, were they fired? Again, it will be hard to believe that men who will not be fired despite the blunders that we have gone through in death, in loss of property and lives, suddenly are now fired? No. So for me, as a strategic intelligence mind, what fits in is this is a tactical distraction. And if you profile our present government, they are masters of the art of distraction. Because Nigerians tend to actually be very sensitive to certain issues. If issues that is boxing them up comes up, all they need to do is to just open another vista of distraction, and we all run there and give them the fillip and the leeway they need to breathe. I am very sure if you ask me or if you ask the present service chiefs, they probably were not prepared for this.
I think you've
they
brought
just got it by surprise.
Aliyu, you brought in another perspective, and I see Temitope nodding to you. Let me bring in Temitope. What do you make of this? He said this seemed to be a distraction, because now it's not only about the war in Nigeria's northeast. We have the bandits, we have the incursion of some killer headsmen in other parts of the country.
Yeah, I worked in civil service for many years, and one of the things that is normally done in even in civilized society is that you use one news to bury another news. That's politics war. Except, anybody could come out and tell me that the three of them slept in the same house, woke up the same morning, had breakfast, and say, let's drive to Asu Rock and drop our registration letter. It's totally. So
you don't see the possibility in that.
Gentleman nod to say, just step down, but you are not sacked. But but it's impossible to say that these individuals just out of their own volition decide to just drop it the same day, the same time, the same hour. It has to be a miracle. So I have to agree with my brother and friend over there that there is more to it. But what we are hoping is that they will be given the leeway to deliver the work. Because there are very simple things that could be done. There are so many advice that have been given to this government and to the military leadership on how to move things forward. My hope and prayer is, because if they succeed, we all succeed. We don't want Boko Haram and Aswad to be running around, uncontrolled. We don't want, anybody coming from outside Nigeria to cause havoc and destroy the peace that we've always enjoyed in our country. And we don't want a military general that will come in and be shooting people in the middle of the road. We don't want that. We want professionals, and that's the reason why I'm happy that we're bringing in these new guys. And once they have their KPIs, which is also very important, that's what we're going to be drumming. We need to know what they're meant to deliver, when they need to deliver it, and then we'll be able to measure them.
Captain Aliyu, never before have I seen you wear such a frown and anger and even speak in such disappointment. At a time that Nigerians, we thought that you'll be so excited as many other Nigerians out there. Tell us now this other angle which you have actually, opened, the killer headsmen that have been making incursion in many parts of the country, because this is another issue that is burning, that must be on the table for the new sheriffs in town.
Well, I must tell you something about killer headsmen. And the things I'm going to mention here are facts. Or rather, let me say they are fact-driven. They are not sentiment-driven. The first thing I'll tell you about this killer headsman is there is virtually no state in Nigeria that hasn't suffered from their horrible activity. No state. The second thing I'm going to say about these people is right from when they started, if you cast your mind back to when the Agatus of Benue State in 2014 were taking the heat, I happened to be with you in another studio and we spoke about these things. If you cast your mind back to when the Dogona Hawas in Plateau State were taking the horrible vices of these monsters, we spoke to it about it in your studio then, way back. Now, this is 2021. All through from 2014 to this day, we have seen particular umbrella bodies, ethnic umbrella bodies, ethnicizing the problem and trying to own it. And indeed, in your studio, I made mention of the fact specifically that Mieti Allah Cattle Breeder Association of Nigeria is trying to own a problem that is not its own. Today, Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Kautal Hori, and the others have worked themselves into this very difficult, tight corner of becoming the face of monsters. And secondly, they have also, by doing so, ethnicized the problem. Crime has no ethnicity. Crime is crime. A criminal must come from somewhere. So for you to tell me they are Fulanis, they are Yorubas, they are Ijos, or whatever is balderdash. What we know is once a crime is committed, the laws of the land should be allowed to take effect. Let me give you an example to rub this in. The coronavirus, COVID-19, actually started its epicenter. It started from a town called Wuhan in China. Now, somewhere along the line, people were tying China and Wuhan to the virus. So Chinese people were beginning to be stigmatized. The World Health Organization and the UN moved quickly to ensure they separated the people from the virus. That's the only way you can fight the virus, or else you're going to have a lot of spiraling effect, crisis and violence fall out of it. When people die and are being buried en mass, emotions will run high and they will start lynching Chinese people. That is what we should have done, but unfortunately, those who advised Macban and the government didn't see it. Rather, they ethnicized the crime. And rather than pursue the crime, they started pursuing ethnicity and other like or allied shenanigans. Now, this fact, as I'm telling you, is what has led this situation to what we are seeing today. Sunday Igboho, for example, Sunday Igboho is a known thug. But trust me, when the government and law enforcement are complacent, then anyone who looks like a savior to the people becomes their savior.
That's a good perspective. Sorry, hold your thoughts, because we're going on a break. When we come back, we'll look at all of these dynamics as we coast home, because you have just opened a can of worms on a very, very serious situation that Nigeria is dealing with. That's when we return. VSA is alive here on News Central, and of course looking at the security situation in Nigeria, west of Africa. Since 2009, Boko Haram has killed more than 30,000 Nigerians and displaced over 2 million people. The terrorist organization has continued to reign supreme in Nigeria for more than a decade. Various ideas have been floated with state governors like the Amotekun in southwest of Nigeria running different security outfits to protect their citizens. Other than insurgency, kidnapping, cattle rustling, farmers, herders, clashes have all been top security concerns. Insecurity has also seen the death of many farmers, going on to affect Nigeria's economy as farmers can't work on their farms owing to fears of being hacked to death. We'll still have our guest with us in the UK is Temitope Olodo, and of course in Nigeria here is Captain Umar Aliyu. Temitope, listening to Umar Aliyu before we went on that very short break, he's thrown in two different perspectives here. The killer heads men or headers, and of course what the Southwest governors have come up to do to bring about peace in their region. Do you think that was a smart move, or is something that just might snowball into a bigger problem?
There's no doubt in my mind. I think Captain actually just hit it on the nail. Even when Trump went ahead to keep on talking about the Chinese virus, a lot of people were shutting him down, just to ensure that the narrative is different. And what we've seen in Nigeria is the playing of politics on issues that are very, very serious. The Macban should not have owned the issue of the foreign headsmen, even as many people kept on saying that these guys are not part of us, let's deal with them. They kept on coming out, fighting on their behalf, negotiating on their behalf, and that's the reason why we are where we are today. Even, in the Southeast, where the iPod have stood up, we saw leadership standing up and saying, no, you can't do this in our community. We are not going to allow you as iPod, as Biafrans and things like that. And that is to show that when you come out, if the president had come out to actually fight this thing, this issue would not have gotten to where it is now. But, we are now in a different situation. We know the smoke screen have been created, and we know that Sunday Adeyemi, has come up and made himself an hero overnight. This is the guy that fought in the Ife Modekeke War, so he has an understanding of civil war. So he's not just coming as a novice into this game. And that's the reason why many people believe that he has passion. There is no monetary benefit to these things. He's only fighting as a nationalist. But we must not encourage such. Why? Because nobody should be above the law. And that's the reason why finding a peaceful resolution to the issue is the best way forward. And I'm happy that at least, this issue, there've been some statement. But the statement does not go down because there are three actors in this. There is the government, there is the individuals, the citizens who are victims, and then there is the group who do not believe in the establishment. Those are the people that we need to find out if they will submit to not grazing at night, the use of young people, and we need to start coming up with practical ways in which to ensure that those that are Nigerians who are willing to abide by the rules go and get their biometric license and ID, are protected and guided, and they become part of the community. But those that are foreigners who are trying to infiltrate and cause trouble in our community, we bring them out, and the MAGBAN also help to identify those individuals and help to get them deported out of the country because they're not Nigerians. But all this idea that a person can come from Senegal and come and stay in Nigeria and he will say he's part of us and cause havoc, we must not allow it.
Well, I hope Umar Aliyu is back on. Well, anyway, I think let me stay with you. Looking at, because he's called it what he thinks it is. He says the man who is leading that struggle or that agitation in Nigeria's southwest region isn't, someone distinguished enough to do that on behalf of the people in southwest. Does this mean that Nigeria has somehow been rewarding, criminality or illegality, in its fight or in its quest to seeking peace?
Is that to me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a lot of narrative that is going out there, but let's be very clear. Whoever stands up, to take, to stand up and to be counted, that will be identified. And one of the things we need to understand that is immediately this gentleman stood up, and actually, more or less started to speak about some of the issues, that he's concerned about and people are concerned about. People came out to accept him, to welcome him. Now, the issue is, we must not negate the fact that the police are actually working on this issue. People have been arrested, as we've heard from, some of the, information that came out, into the public domain, that the police have actually arrested some people. But the issue is, and which is the issue I mentioned earlier, is our military establishment do not know how to celebrate themselves or to talk about some of the things they have done. If somebody's family is involved in crime, the first thing is that the police are supposed to have victim support unit who go to the family, talk to the family, help them to understand the court process, help them to understand how to get access to government information, so that when people come out and say, oh, this happened to us, those individuals will come out and say, you know what, we've been getting the normal support from the police and the establishment. That's the way it works. I've never heard of Nigerian police having civilian police. There's supposed to be a civilian police aspect in our police that are responsible for administrative work, but I don't think they exist. The same policeman that is going out to investigate is the same one writing the report, the same one following up the case. It doesn't work in any modern policing. And that's the reason why I'm also hopeful that this change does not just stop with the service chief, but it goes to all the other areas, all the other security infrastructure. And I hope it's not just to bury news alone, but it is done at the right time, for the benefit of the people.
Propaganda, or you call it information, is another key issue. I'll come back to you, Temitope, so that we can speak more on that. Captain Aliyu, good to have you back again. Before we went on the break, you were actually moving in a direction talking about some personalities and, of course, some key issues within some geopolitical zones in the country, specifically looking at southwest Nigeria. Now, looking at the agitation, by Sunday Igboho and what the southwest governors have come to do at the end of the day, do you think that meeting between the governors of the region and the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, as well as some security chiefs, was the right thing to do in bringing about the needed peace on the region?
I must first make you understand something, Sule. The issue of herdsmen is not a problem at all. The only reason why it has become so intractable is because we have politicians, sons of Nigeria, who want to leverage on it to score whatever selfish goals or interests they have. The issue of herdsmen and pastoralists and farmer clashes is indeed embarrassing, that the federal might is required to solve it. It is an issue that is like a very minor domestic quarrel, which any chief executive officer of the state, as in a governor, even a local government chairman, can solve. The reason why we are not getting that, and we are seeing a seemingly jobless federal structure coming in, is because there are vested interests involved. Simply put, Nigerians have the right and the freedom to choose to reside wherever they please, provided is within the territorial definition of our country. But then there is a caveat to that freedom. While you are free to reside where you so decide, you must respect and be in compliance with the norms and values of your host community. So you become a troublemaker when you come from wherever you come from within Nigeria and think you can come and impose your own norms and way of life to your host community, whereas your norms and your ways of life are outlandish to them. Don't forget, there are over 200 ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. The Fulanis are just one. So how come 199 others suddenly have an aversion for this one? If we have to be objective, if we have to be truthful, if we have to be sincere, it's time to call our Fulani brothers to order. And the first people to do it will be the ethnic Fulani elites and the Makban. The government has no business in this, except, of course, if they are sponsors of this horrible situation we are seeing.
So when you talk about some of the elites, quickly, let me put this to you again, Umar Aliyu. Do you have any individual or individuals in mind that should help to broker this peace?
I do. For a start, Makban is an umbrella body. Hotel Kore is, and the others. We also have well-learned, distinguished Fulani elites in this country. Why are they silent? they indeed have not taken their brothers, the nomads, out of ignorance, illiteracy, and the wilderness. Why? Why? Northern Nigeria, my very dear Northern Nigeria, is home to the highest number of horses in this country. Polo horses, if you like. The average horse eats twice or thrice as much as a cow will. So whose farms are the horses grazing? And how are they being fed through the dry and rainy seasons? If horses can be ranched with so much with all they eat and drink, then cattle can be ranched. But I tell you something, the Fulani elite, both traditional, religious, social, and academic, have not been fair to our brothers, the nomads, because our brothers, the nomads, still live in times 200 years ago. They were not carried along. And that is why today we have this problem. And some very dangerous Nigerians want to ride on that and use them as catalysts and platform for some outmoded vested interests, which is not going to get us anywhere. Let me just thread the needle. The way we are going and our president's aloofness to this situation for the past 6 years. How do you think, Sulaiman, you will fare if you were Fulani and you aspired to president 5 years from now? You are going to have a running battle. So our president and the elites of the Fulani ethnic nationality at this moment are not an asset to the future of that ethnic nationality amongst us Nigerians. That's just the truth.
You know, this issue is seem to be larger than what many Nigerians see it to be. And now that both of you gentlemen have actually, laid it all out. Now quickly, as well, because you already started talking about solutions, Captain Aliyu, Temitope, let me also, bring you in on this and. Talk about pretty much more on solutions. Captain Aliyu has talked about the elites, talked about some of these people who are even the owners of the cattle that the nomads, take about, in the country. How best can Nigeria, rein in those who are fomenting troubles from amongst the law-abiding herdsmen in the country? Well, it doesn't look like Temitope is still on with me. Let me go back to you, Aliyu, if we can actually drive this home, because the picture you painted gives the impression that the nomads, or those who we see on a daily basis, the herdsmen, they have masters, those who own the cattle, and of course these seem to be the elites. And from your comment, you say they have been silent. How can we make them start talking, especially in respect of educating the nomads or the herders who go about the country?
Solution is, again, as I said, not a difficult thing. When we politicize solutions, then they become seemingly unachievable. The solutions will be applied on 3 fronts. The first will come from the regulatory agencies, not the regulatory agencies, the umbrella agencies like Miete, Allah, and Kautal Hori. And what they need to do is first and foremost to decouple this mentality of making the Fulanis the face of banditry, kidnappings, ransom taking, herdsmen hostility in Nigeria. And how will they do it? First, they come together and disown. I say again, and disown any of their members who decides to partake in any of these monstrous, devious activities. Anyone who decides to go robbing on the highway, kidnapping people, raping, killing, sacking villages is not a Fulani. Wherever he is found, he should be arrested and brought to book. He's a criminal. Crime no get religion, you no get tribe. That's on one front. On the second front, those who are in the business of employing herders, anybody can have herders work to keep his cows. Yorubas do it, Hausas do it, Fulanis do it, Juku, everybody does it. Now, the owners of this cattle must ensure they go and get themselves registered as may be required within where they are operating. Getting yourself registered simply means you have nothing to hide. You are going to keep to the rules. Then the third one has to do with the herders themselves. Not all these herders are even Nigerians, because we have refused to define our Nigerianness. Anybody can stroll in from a neighboring country and call himself a Nigerian. So for the herders, I'm not talking about the good herders. I'm talking about the criminals. We must set very decisive, if not ruthless, examples. And that is where our judiciary comes in. When these people are caught for kidnaps, for rape, for all those things they do, we must make sure that they don't get a tap on the wrist as judgment. And we must make sure their judgment is not prolonged and far-flung. That way, we become a strong, potent deterrence for the aspiring, the serving, and future kidnappers and violent headsmen. Ghana did it.
You know, it may be a new dawn in Nigeria as the security chiefs kick into action. But Temitope, listening to Umar Aliyu, another perspective we draw from him is that silence from leaders of that ethnic group has sort of emboldened especially the criminals amongst them. Now, the registration of some of these people has, started in some parts of Nigeria's southwest region. Tell us how this can help, reduce criminality in places where you have the headsmen with some, being plugged into the data of the state so that you know who is within your forest reserve grazing at every point in time.
I agree that the registration might help in some way, but I think education is important. I know you've seen a lot of videos that me, myself, and Captain Umar Aliyu has seen. We've seen the kind of activities that have been carried out by some of these individuals. So training, making them understand the issue of human rights, making them understand the issue of gender violence, making them understand that certain crimes are not allowed, but also holding responsible the individuals, who are giving them the cows, to graze for them. Because there's something I was taught in school, which is called vicarious liability. They are vicariously liable for criminal activities undertaking, undertaking when individuals are carrying out activities on their behalf, criminal activities on their behalf. So some of these people should be held responsible. So if by the time we have registration and we have training for this, for the ones that are, so don't just collect their 5,000 or 10,000 so that they could become a member of the organization. You have responsibility to make them understand you are going into a particular community. So if you go into the east, this is the sensitivity of that community. If you go into the south, this is the sensitivity of that community. Even in the north, because I lived in Sokoto for many years, it's a very peaceful environment which has now turned into a graveyard with many being killed. So even in the north, they need to understand that there is no issue about entitlement. It is my kinsman that is that is the commander-in-chief, so I can do whatever I like. We own the whole land. You do not own any land. You are a visitor in a place, and when you abide with that community, you become a member of that community. And we've seen it in Lagos, where even people of the Igbo extraction are now local government chairmen in Lagos State, because they've identified themselves with that community, they've added value to that community, and the whole community, regardless of who they are, decide to vote them into political power. So just like the captain said, you can't expect one to be detected to 199. So everybody needs to take their position within this general Nigeria that is our Nigeria.
Gentlemen, I realized something. I hope Captain Aliyu is still online. I realized that this topic is deeper than deep. Nigeria's new security chiefs are expected to get into the groove with no stones left unturned. How well it goes, time, as they say, will tell. But again, while thanking both of you gentlemen, Temitope Olodo in the UK and of course here in Nigeria, Captain Umar Aliyu, I'm hoping that we can keep this conversation, going. Specifically, if we can actually look at, the agenda, set an agenda for the new service chiefs, as well as looking very deeply into the problem of the herdsmen in Nigeria's southwest region and even southeast region. If we can do that tomorrow, gentlemen, that'll be awesome for our viewers. Once again, many thanks for being such a nice company. Remember, you can watch us live on youtube.com/News Central TV and on Star Times channel 274. You can also check the latest updates on Africa on newscentral.africa. I'm Sulaiman. I'll see you tomorrow.